I wanted to do a video on my Beta 300RR. This is a 2016 bike. I've had it for over a year, and I thought if I did a video on the modifications that I've done to it, that might be good for someone that's got one or someone that wants one. So the first thing we did was we put the carbon fibre pipe guard on. It's a fantastic pipe guard. I'm actually amazed with it. It's got no dents in the pipe yet. The pipe has actually been moved upwards, and yeah, can't recommend them highly enough. The force radiator guards, I don't really have an opinion on them. I guess they do their job, but what I do have an opinion on is the bash plate. The force bash plate is absolutely fantastic. Highly recommend. Beta shipped the bike with a plastic bash plate, so I have no idea what they're thinking about, and definitely worth getting the force plate on. Another thing I don't know what they're thinking about is this brake lever or pedal. The pedal, it easily ploughs into the casing and wrecks the casing, so you just need to trim the edges of the pedal off. Probably the next thing we did was the gearing. So we ride mainly in Gippsland on clay-based soil, single track, slippery slopes. So on the back I run 51 and on the front I run 13. That's a really good gearing for snotty, slippery stuff. We don't do any racing, no one's got time or money for that. But while I'm here, I will mention the chain guard. The chain guard's worth taking off. Mine got caught up in a stick, and you can see it ripped half the paint off the rim. So I'd recommend getting rid of that. Probably the next thing we did was the suspension. I have to admit, Beta suspension is the best suspension I've ever ridden on in about 30 years. The rear is absolutely fantastic. I changed the spring just because I'm a heavier guy. It's worth getting your sag set up right. The rear end's really easy to dial in, and yeah, it's excellent. But the front is a different story. When we got the bike, the front forks, the action was ridiculous. They were too stiff. I changed the oil in them. That made a big difference. I put Bellray 5-weight in, and I also changed the springs. The main reason I changed the springs was because I put the big tank on. So this is the 12, I think it's 12.3. I get about 130k out of it. In a hard day we probably do 90k, so it's good to have a bit of extra fuel on board. And yeah, so the heavier springs, they help, but I couldn't get all the smooth, I couldn't get all the small bumps out of it. So I ended up putting the flex bars on it. I can't recommend the flex bars enough. They're a heavier bar, but I've got it on a softer compound on the down and harder on the up, and they're well and truly worth putting on. So totally love the flex bars, and I don't recall what brand these handguards are, but every bike needs handguards. The other things we did up here was we put a left-hand brake on it. I run a Rekluse Clutch. I've had a clake on this before, and I've got another video on the clake. I didn't really like the clake, so I've gone the Rekluse, and I really like the left-hand brake. So that's very good to have. And then the other thing is, got rid of the Speedo and put the Trail Tech GPS Speedo on it, and that's what that little Duvalaki there is. That's actually the GPS aerial. So that's very good to have in the bush. We use it constantly. And down here I've got the force chain guard. You can see I've had to drill a hole for the clutch adjustment, though once I've set it I actually haven't adjusted the clutch at all. The other thing down here is I changed the idle screw. Beta shipped the bike with a plastic idle screw, which is just, it's ridiculous. It actually annoys me because Beta promote their bike as, leading brand, best there is, and plastic idle screw in there like that isn't leading brand. So that got changed. Other modifications to the bike, that's about it really. The things I don't like about the bike are the brakes. So I've bitched about that before. The rotors, they just wear out. I see Beta does have solid rotors on their website now, so I might put a set of them on next. But apart from that, that's about it. I didn't play with the jetting at all. Oh, the cooling's an issue. I put the bigger impeller on. I didn't really notice a difference. When I bought the bike, I was told it won't boil, but I boiled it twice. It'll definitely boil on snotty tracks if you're stuck on them. And I think I'm going to put the radiator kit on. I haven't got the radiator kit on it, but I'll definitely be putting that on it. So, other things, just the grab rails on the back. A weak point on the bike is if someone tries to lift you out of a rut, they will snap the tail of it off. So it's worth putting a strap on the back. And I've also got a pull strap on the front, which is handy. And I really like that because it's got extra length in it. So, you know, when the pull strap's too close to the bike, people actually get in the road when they're trying to help you. So it's good to have a longer one. And the only other thing is I run the Wolfman Day Packs. It's really funny because these are everywhere in the US and nowhere in Australia. The day packs are excellent. You don't even know they're there. And it beats carrying a backpack on your back, I can assure you that. So it's pretty well the bike. Hopefully that gives you some tips or ideas what you want to do with yours. Thanks. Bye.